Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, everyone. By nature, I happen to be a teacher because most of the time I spend working with schools and children, and that's where the larger part of my life goes. And I'm here narrating a story of Horlicks WizKids. Oh yes, something that me and my team have lived with literally now for the past 15 years. And the story goes back 15 years ago when we were trying to market our personality development workshops, which today are division activity kind of pioneers in the country. Based out of Bangalore, we were trying to walk to different schools and tell them that there's a lot more to education than just academics. And not many people willing to buy. I'm talking about 15 years ago. The world was very, very different. Mobile had not yet come into our hands, leave alone the kids' hands. And this was a time when, acceptance of anything new was very, very difficult. But thankfully, Bangalore was possibly the city that accepts and encourages a lot of new initiatives. Since our workshops were not getting promoted, not getting accepted very well, we thought, can we think of another way of building self-confidence in children? There are a lot of skills that children need to learn, like working in a team. If you look very closely at the school system in our country, there are many things that we teach our children which are so contrary to what we expect them to do when they grow up. Let's take, for example, the individuals that we create. Our education system creates individuals. It's your exams, your studies, your projects, your assignments. You're actually told to mind your own business, don't look into somebody else. And after all these years of education, the moment you land up in a working environment, you're supposed to work as a team. Wow. Now, how do you ever teach children a skill of working in a team? How do you build their self-esteem? It was not an idea that was new. It was something which was there in our environment. Inter-school competitions were so famous all over the country. I came from a school where we had an inter-school debate which was over 100 years old. So what we did was we put together an event from the year 97 to 2002. This kept on growing from a one-city event to a six-city event across the country. And in 2003, we met up with Horlicks. And Horlicks was looking at a platform. At that point of time, they were relaunching themselves. And they were looking at a platform which was very, very real, because Horlicks was a very real product. And they were more, Horlicks was something that a relative took to a sick person in hospital. That was the image of Horlicks. It was not something that was fancy. It was something that was real. And Horlicks believed in the overall development. And here was a platform that was available to them. And from the year 2003 to today, 10 years on, the Crayon and the Horlicks Association is going really, really strong. So to begin this presentation, I have a short video. Incidentally, all the video clips in this have been taken from videos created by school children during a competition of Horlicks WizKids last year. And we've combined this together as a visual for you. In fact, this was sent out along with the invitation to all the schools last year. Have a look at the video, and I'll get back into the details of Horlicks WizKids.
Hey ho! We got the WizKids ready to go! Hey ho! Hey ho!
So ladies and gentlemen, that's the magic of Horlicks WizKids. Over the past 14 years that the event has been, and now with Horlicks for almost 10 years, it has created a benchmark for itself when it comes to school contact programs. I'm just going to share with you some information regarding the reach, the size. I think it's something that almost everyone who's been associated with any marketing of any kids products know about. It's the sheer size and scale of this event. Every single year it reaches out to over 2 million children. And anything between 2.5 to 3, 2.5 to 3 lakh children participate in this event. And the interesting thing about this particular event is the fact that Horlicks WizKids is for everyone. And that's how I started off. Because we believe that a singer, a painter, a writer, a musician, a dancer, a quizzer, everyone needs to be encouraged, and every talent is important. Somewhere when you look closely at a school, they encourage a few talents like quizzing and debating, and there are a few talents that are not necessarily encouraged. And we have competitions like cooking. When we started off 10 years ago with the cooking competition, we would probably have 10 or 15 students taking part in a cooking competition. And it was a rarity to see a boy taking part in a cooking competition. And this year alone, my statistics tell me that we had over 6,500 children in India participating in a cooking competition. So WizKids kinds of brings together all kinds of talents and calls them all WizKids, mind me. It could be a mehendi designing competition and we consider that girl or that boy as a WizKid. We've redefined the meaning of WizKids for schools across this country. And there are a few other pointers that I would like to mention is the fact that it has remained relevant over a decade now. Whenever you look at properties, I think the last 10 years has seen a much larger change in the psyche, the psychosocial development of children than it has ever been in the past several decades. And yet WizKids has been relevant because the kind of format that it is, it allows you to integrate a lot of new things into its system. For example, today social media is an extremely active aspect of WizKids. I'll just share with you a couple of slides of that. And children right from class 1 to 12 can participate. So if you look at it, you removed all boundaries. If you're not intelligent, if you're not good in academics, great, you can take part in WizKids. You're not a great dancer, you're not a great singer, you can still come in as a part of your school's cheering team. And you get an award for, the best cheering school or the best dressed school. So WizKids for us was a building self-esteem platform, and research has consistently shown that one of the best outcomes of Horlicks WizKids is that it tremendously boosts the self-confidence of children. And I've talked to you at length about all the different competitions. There are 40 of them that happen. So it is like a mailer. Students come to Horlicks WizKids to participate in a marathon. Not many come there to win. And that's the beauty of Horlicks WizKids, is the losers, that's what the schools sometimes might want to call them if they have not won, are going back with as much a rich experience as the ones who won the competitions as well. And very quick photographs. These are all taken by students, incidentally. And the crowds, there are cities where we'll end up getting 5,000-6,000 children coming and squeezing themselves in the largest auditoriums there just to be a part of that experience. There is no other competition. We do a lot of other events. There's nothing else which comes to the high energies of the audience. You need to convince audiences to clap, but here they come in with their whole jing bang just to cheer and be a participant. All right, I did mention about the relevance of WizKids even after 10 years. Quickly, let me just take you live to a Facebook page of that. Horlicks WizKids possibly has one of the most active Facebook pages. Over 68,000 students on this very actively participate in competitions, interact with one another. Most of the videos that you see online on YouTube of Horlicks WizKids have been taken by children themselves. That's our YouTube page. If you can just keep scrolling down, you have different students who just keep coming and posting their videos. Because the format of the event is so beautiful that it allows children to capture that moment, and social media today, gives them an opportunity to share it with the world. We've won a hell of a lot of awards in the past 5-7 years. Almost anything that's there in the marketing, in the advertising, the events fraternity. In fact, there have been occasions where WizKids has won the Best International Event Award. And I must mention that in Nepal, the biggest event that happens is Horlicks WizKids for Schools. In Pakistan, it goes live on their television network, and possibly the only event from India that happens in Pakistan, where we work with the educational system in Pakistan to do this event. And it's won awards and applause across different platforms. And what does it do from a brand perspective? So WizKids allows the direct engagement with the kids. If you remember, Horlicks was looking for a platform that was very real. And here you're talking about real kids taking part. There's nothing rehearsed. Everything is real about this particular event. And it very clearly was set out to build a long-lasting property. I think they were doing this at a time when the Bonvita quiz contest was right on its way out, literally. It's been off the radar from the past few years and being revived again from the past couple of years. So Horlicks, being in the same category, was looking at the long-lasting property. And it wanted to bring alive the brand proposition of helping on overall development. And how does a brand value the impact? In brand terms, Horlicks measures WizKids as a source of awareness, and research scores have shown a healthy improvement over the years. Brand imagery scores on affinity with kids are also tracked, which show a spike in the WizKids month. A lot of research happens every time we do this event across the country and different parts of the world as well, and consistently mapping for the impact that this event has. And that's one of the reasons, the positive results is a reason why it's been growing, and Horlicks has been so consistent with it. Then the other aspect was, influence on business. She's not answered this question directly. It's difficult to establish directly on a large-scale brand like Horlicks. However, this activity is seen more as a strong equity-building exercise. Horlicks is consistently the market leader in its category. I must add here, by far the market leader in its category, and this is their largest on-ground activation that they do. And the reasons for their consistency is all their ATL campaigns are aimed at mothers. And WizKids is aimed at the child. So that combination gives them the results that they're looking for. And the support on the event is further buffered by the fact that there is a lot of positive soft feedback on the program from consumers, very importantly for marketeers, from the sales team. The sales teams won that on ground, and also a thriving online community. Because whenever GlaxoSmithKline internationally searches for Horlicks, the only thing that they see for the first 10, 20 or even 30 pages is what happened in Horlicks WizKids. So that is something very important from the marketing team's point of view. I'm going to end with interesting research that EduMedia did. This was done last year, in the year 2012, because we are already in 2013, was on what impact does an event like Horlicks WizKids have on the overall development of children? Because that's the platform that we've taken right from day one and said that it helps in overall development of children. So does it really work? So here are some research findings. This was done in 8 cities, 4 non-metros and 4 metros, almost 2,000 sample students between 10 to 16 years. And So there was two components to the survey. One was the students and the other was the teachers component. The students component focused more on the student, their desire to participate, source of motivation, overall experience, recurring participation, their favorite competitions, and likelihood of participating in the forthcoming years. An overwhelming majority of almost 96% are very, very keen to participate in the competition. In fact, we get requests from schools. You need to just go into the gates of a school and imagine if there is 5 students taking part in a painting competition, there were 100 others who wanted to participate. So what WizKids has effectively done is created preliminary competitions in thousands of schools in this country. Preliminary competitions for cooking and mehndi design and poster making and collage. Now that's a very, very interesting social change that's coming about in the way schools educate themselves. Because if there were only 5 children wanting to paint, it was easy to pick them up. But when you have 100, you do a competition within the school and gives a larger opportunity. Apart from that, if you look very closely, most of the motivation for children to participate in WizKids, and you can generalize this in any school contact program, comes from themselves, and their second biggest motivator is their parents. If you look closely, the teachers come in a distant third. So a very strong influence on children taking part in SCPs and children's activations is themselves and their parents. Okay, what are the benefits of Horlicks WizKids? This is a psychometric analysis done, and the results being showcased in the form of a language that you could decipher. It helps increasingly to build self-confidence in children. If you remember originally, years ago when we set out, this was the objective of doing an event like this. It also helps in exposing a talent, which is quite interesting. But there's some very innovative ones that come out, like socially responsible, sensitivity towards others. It helps them to set very high standards, accept compliments and criticisms. And these are life skills which are invaluable for children. And in an atmosphere of fun and excitement, they're picking up all of this. And a quick snapshot of the teachers' survey. And even the teachers agree with us that a platform like this helps in building self-confidence. They also talk about building communication skills, creativity, leadership, and to appreciate others. If you look at some of those life skills that are being picked up. So as marketeers, when you're engaging with children and organizing children's events or school contact programs, there is a strong benefit to the brand. But if it is done the right way, there is a strong benefit to the way children are being brought up as well. And the teachers' feedback about what they like about the event, I think a majority of them like the way the exposure and opportunities. Because if you compare Horlicks WizKids with everything else that happens, it's like a bouquet of flowers where everyone's given a prime position. Whereas most other competitions pick up individual talents, pick up individual brilliance, and give them a platform. So I think that exposure to to opportunities is something which is a very interesting feedback from the teachers. And the overall experience, I think 50, 89, 90% of them thinking it's a very good. And we did go back to those 1% who had a bad experience and checked with them, and the top reason for them having a bad experience was they felt that their school should have won the competition and not another school. So there's one very interesting insight there for you. And the willingness to participate. It's very important for a long age-old property like WizKids, going on for more than 10 years, that would you be interested in participating again? 94% of them who've participated have an overwhelming yes. This is both the teachers as well as the students. So ladies and gentlemen, that was a quick insight into Horlicks WizKids. My objective here was just to share with you an experience which is very difficult to describe. you know, I cannot but explain to you what the atmosphere is till you actually walk into an auditorium where a Horlicks WizKids takes place and then experience it. And then you would know the legend that has gone on to making Horlicks WizKids. Thank you so much.